All information covered in this video is currently available to the public and can be accessed and discovered through the links in the description below. I will also be linking the public Discord server and the owner's Twitter account if you'd like to keep up-to-date news on Veilbound and its updates and all the fun stuff. I had to get this segment out of the way because unfortunately the game is on media ban. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into the video. Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Zombie, and welcome back guys to another one of my videos. And in today's video guys, we're going to be talking about all of the new current and up-to-date information that we have on the new Roblox RPG Veilbound that looks very promising in a game that I am extremely excited to play within the near future. But before we begin guys, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and hitting that subscribe button and liking the video, it would mean a lot to me, helps out with the algorithm, and yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So around 2 days ago, a YouTuber by the name of SelectTorch hosted a little Q&A live stream that had the devs answer a lot of questions that people had about the game. And the live stream was about an hour long, so they talked about a lot of stuff that was in the game. And what I did was I watched the whole thing and I wrote down on a list what I thought were the most important things that they mentioned. And yeah, I think it's all really cool, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. And if I missed anything from the live stream, make sure to comment down below and just type out what I missed. It's just to help out other people. I'm not perfect. I probably missed a few things here and there. These are just things that I found interesting from the video. And yeah, like I said, comment down below if you have anything that I missed, because I'm sure there's a few things that I skimmed over or didn't 100% get. So anyway, getting into the first thing that I thought was interesting was that this is going to be a permadeath game, but it can be avoided. Going off of what the dev said, saying that it was not going to be a huge factor into the game and can be avoided, I'm assuming they're doing something similar to Deepwoken, where when you die and go to the depths, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're dead, but you have to beat the trials in order to get out. I'm assuming that's what they mean, but I'm not 100% sure. Permadeath is just a very interesting mechanic that they are adding into this game and has been done before, but what I'm most interested in is how they are going to do it differently as opposed to other games that exist on the platform. Up next on what I thought was interesting from the Q&A was that they did mention a PvE system that was going to be implemented into the game. While they didn't go too in depth on what the PvE system was going to provide, they did say that there was going to be one, so that could mean that we're fighting, you know, say monsters like in Deepwoken, or we were going to be fighting bandits, which I hope isn't the case, but just opens the door to endless possibilities. Now, of the things that the devs did talk about in this video, something that I thought was extremely interesting was that they said that there was going to be very interactive lore that the community was going to be playing a part in. And this isn't just exclusive to close community. Something I see a lot of games do that have a close community phase is that they only make lore accessible to those who are a part of this group. So seeing that they're opening it up to people who aren't just testers and people who played the game before the main public can, that's really interesting, and I'm really excited to see how the devs are going to do this. While still on the topic of lore, something that I found interesting was that the devs mentioned that there were going to be live events that the community could participate in that also impact the lore, which I don't think has been done anywhere else. There are going to be things such as economies that impact the game that are also lore-driven, that are run by factions or governed by factions. The devs didn't really specify there, but the factions of these towns and of these places will determine ultimately how the towns flourish and how they fail, which I think is very interesting as well. As for progression and how that will work in the game, the devs weren't too clear on how the progression is going to be. They didn't specifically say it's going to be non-linear progression, but they did mention how that your progression is going to be based on how your character grows and not how many bandits or players you kill. So that can mean just about anything. I'm interested to see what they are going to do there, but this could give us a lot of different options if there isn't just a linear path where you have to beat up a certain amount of bandits or kill a certain amount of players to meet a requirement to do something. It could be very similar to what I'm assuming RelC's is doing with their progression, where it's not really all linear and you can do a lot of different things to level up your character and get strong in the game. Alright, so next up I'm just going to be kind of listing off things that I wrote down. These aren't really big and important things. These are just things that I kind of thought were cool, and I wrote down because, hey, this is just something that's a feature in the game, and we don't really see a lot. In the Q&A, the devs did mention something about console support is a maybe. They weren't 100% on it, but it is still kind of up in the air whether we are going to get a console port of this game. I think it's very unlikely, like seeing how that a lot of combat and PvP games aren't good on console, so I don't think we're gonna get it, but the devs didn't necessarily say that we aren't going to get a console adaptation. So yeah, the devs did mention that there's going to be a weather system similar to Deepwoken in the game as well, and that there is going to be kind of a little bit of a scarcity system in the winter when it comes to food, something I'm not so sure is done in Deepwoken, but is still interesting to see how the devs are going to do it. They did mention that there was going to be a very interactive environment with like destruction, and that could mean like a lot of different things. That could mean that it's very extreme, where you could destroy, say, whole cities if you wanted to, or it could be very light, where you get punched into a wall and there's like a crack that shows up in the wall and then like it regens over time. It's up in the air and it can mean a lot, but I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this interactive environment. We were told that there was a magic system in the game, but we unfortunately don't have any leaks or footage to show what this magic system is. This could mean either that there's going to be like mages in the game where you can cast spells similar to what Rogue Lineage does, or what Deepwoken does with the mantras and how your attacks kind of become embedded with the magic that you have. It's cool and it's interesting. I'm curious to see what they are going to do with it. We got the confirmation of an aging system being implemented into the game, and that there are going to be years similar to Deepwoken, but unlike Deepwoken, you won't be able to die due to old age, which I think is really cool, because if you have a character around for a very long time, it doesn't lock you out of playing that character if you've had it since release, which I think is really cool. We also got the confirmation that there are going to be races in the game, like a variety of different races, and a similar customization that Deepwoken has, where you can customize the look of your character for that specific race, which is interesting to see and see what they'll do with that. There will be in-game groups in the game called guilds, and these guilds are going to have a cap of 15 players. I'm happy they put a cap on it, seeing that you can't just have a guild of 100 something players, and you know that would be kind of unfun to go against, but seeing that there's a cap on the guild limit is really cool. But what's also interesting about guilds is that guilds can expand and eventually become factions, which will interact with the game's economy and lore, which is really cool. And last but not least, the final thing that I have on my list here is that there are going to be in-game professions. This is going to be stuff like lumberjacking and farming, stuff that kind of boosts the economy, and I think this is really cool because it gives players who don't want to PvP or PvE maybe something to do, which, you know, maybe if you don't want to be the best person at PvP in the game, you can be the best lumberjack in the game and have the most amount of money. The possibilities are endless, and this is just really cool to see that they would add this little detail into the game. But yeah, guys, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's video. I know it's a bit of a long one, but there was just so much information that was talked about in this live stream, and there's just so much to go off of. So yeah, if you're still sticking around and you're here to the end, why not go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe? You made it this far, you know, not really any harm of not doing it. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I recommend going and checking out the Q&A for yourselves. Link in the description below. I'm gonna be linking all the stuff. You can join the Discord, you can join or you can follow the owner on Twitter, do all that fun stuff. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.